Good afternoon, good evening. How are we today? I think everything's working as far as I'm aware. Apart from that, that should be off. But we're chilling. Very good. Well, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Today we are watching and casting a very interesting game of... Who are we watching? That's a great question. Team Sitout versus Too Hot For DotA in the GTI International, of course. It should be an interesting matchup. Both teams have so far been pretty strong. I mean, unfortunately, both of them have ended up in the lower bracket, but I mean, they've also both won games, so this could go either way. Just looking at the stats, Team Sitout are currently sitting a pretty decent win percentage so far. They had not the best of group stages, but since the main stages sort of rocked up, I mean, so have they. They've upper bracket is for bitches. You're absolutely right, and we like it a lot. So yeah, so Team Sitout, they were booted, but now in the lower bracket, and well, I mean, they've already won a game in the upper bracket, and they narrowly lost out to Halo C3 soundtrack, which was a pretty close game. I think I can't remember if they had any stand-ins for that game. They may well have done, but in any case, I mean, they're still playing pretty well. So what's going on today? I'm going to be joined by a lovely Falcus when he turns up, and Amos as well. Both of which will be giving me a bit of a hand, just to chat shit about general things going on. Fingers crossed, everything isn't a total disaster, but we'll see what happens. So without missing out, we can also look at Too Hot For DotA as well. These guys have also just come off of a big win in the lower bracket. So whilst they haven't had a lot of experience in the upper bracket, they did get knocked down by Wogan's Wizards, who have, I believe, just been knocked out by Team Spherical. So whilst, yeah, absolutely, they've been knocked down by someone else who's been eliminated, they are definitely no slouches, beating Bad Lads in the first round of the lower bracket. So this game should be really interesting. Both teams in very good form. Both teams demonstrating a lot of skill. So this could go any way at all. So it should be really interesting. Just waiting for the lobby to be made. It should be sent through to me at some point, but if not, that's absolutely fine. Let's see what else is going on. Okay. Just let me know if any issues at all have come through. I think they should be alright so far. Very good. So yeah, so still waiting on the lobby. We've got, well, 5 minutes. I've started the stream way too early, but it is what it is. Interestingly enough, Too Hot For DotA did just come off of a win with stand-in as their POS 1 as Larry Lama, who was part of OGs. Say was part, still is part, who unfortunately, much to my personal heartbreak, were knocked out in the first round, losing 2 games on the trot, which was relatively poor. I'll be the first one to admit it, but that was to Spherical. And interestingly, Sitout. So Larry has experience losing to Sitout. He's done it before, and yet they still managed to win with him. So it could be interesting. I don't know if they have managed to find a stand-in for this game. I believe they did. Let me just double check. Okay, I can't actually see who they've had. But it looks like Setup, Leth, Herrington, the TheBastMaster, all of these very, very good players. So I think it is, who is it? Who is their stand-in? Setup, I think? No, that's not right. Herrington. Is it? No. Have they got a full stack? Maybe they do have a full stack. Am I going crazy? Do they have stand-in? I've no idea. You're full today. You've got all 5. Fantastic. So, yeah, so Too Hot for DotA, they have managed to win with a stand-in, so mixing up on the team composition. So excitingly enough, it should actually be a pretty strong team from Too Hot for DotA. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe yeah, it looks like Sitout have got a stand-in. It's not confirmed who they are. I'll see if I can find that though. Because interestingly enough, that could actually be quite the, not the predicament, but it could be a major problem. Oh no, yes, okay, never mind. They do have all 5. Okay, interesting. So both teams at full strength. So Ea-nasir, I think he's a top tier carry. If we look across the positions, he's currently sitting at. Oh, no, that was the wrong button. So according to Strats, Ea-nasir is actually rated the 3rd worst carry, just behind or just in front of Hunter at the absolute bottom, and David on street. So Ea-nasir, according to Strats, and I definitely don't agree with this, is the 3rd worst carry in the tournament, which is fascinating to me. That's very strange. I don't know how, because I think he's extremely good. But you know, it happens. I blame a wide range of things, and I'm not going to get into it too much. Has a lobby been made? Still waiting on a lobby. The lobby has been made. Has it been shared? There's another question. No. Okay, so in comparison, who is the Too Hot for DotA carry? Who is the top Too Hot for DotA carry? Because it was Larry, but he's been booted because he wasn't very good. So let's have a look. Can I actually tell? Is it possible? Can it be done? Alfredo? No, that doesn't look right. Leth? No, he's the
I'm
offlane.
here.
Hello! Hello, Amos. How are you?
I am good.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it's good to have you. I hope you are.
I am 3 pints in and no dinner yet.
Well,
So
in that case, I'm immediately feeling a very drunk cast, which is the absolute dream.
are we part of the detour was to stop in at the corner shop to get some more beers on the way home. It was a multi-part detour.
Oh dear. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't think there's anything that hits better than tins from a corner shop on your way home.
We basically never go to this. Are we doing the sit out game?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Gito, lobby password, please.
Please, I want to get in. I think it's Zoe doing it.
Oh, is Zoe doing this one?
I think so.
Gito, lobby password, please.
Is sent up. Sent up. Oh. Okay.
And then where is Falcus?
Is he in game?
Not yet.
He just hates the game. He hates it. Can't get enough. So I guess my first question is, how much do you know about these teams? Because I know a little bit about Sitout and nothing about Too Hot for DotA.
Too Hot for DotA, I know, is attempting to become a franchise.
Okay, interesting.
As in, Zoe ran Too Hot for DotA and Goon Internationals 1 and 2,
Ah,
and then was busy getting married during part of the group stage for this year.
that's a very valid
And when
excuse.
I'm not going to put a team together because I'm busy planning a wedding.
Makes sense.
So she basically said, I will farm out the Too Hot for DotA name. So Zoe is coaching.
Okay. So,
TheBastMaster is the only returning member of Too Hot for
oh
DotA.
wow.
Zoe essentially was like, give me 5 players and I will make a team. I will whip them into shape and then disappear 2 weeks into whipping them into shape to get married and then reappear and maybe coach their games.
Okay.
No shade on Zoe. Would love to
Not
get
at all.
married.
But that's very interesting. So in theory, Too Hot for DotA are the absolute favourites.
Sorry, I've just said this out loud, and my other half has stomped along our. I say stomped. We have laminated floors, and she's not wearing socks, so it's like a.
Oh no.
And then come and leaned in, held her hand up, and just tapped the ring finger at me.
Oh. Well, I mean, apparently you've just got the password.
I have got the password. Goon Sports 1 is here and on the scene.
We
Don't
love
worry.
Goon Sports. Here we go.
You may need to share your screen
Okay,
to
that's fine.
Falcus when he gets into this channel
I
because
can.
my camera work is going to be bad.
My camera work is going to be equally as bad, but that's okay, I think. Well, we'll see. Cool.
At Falcus. Where Falcus?
Where the fuck is Falcus?
Tired from work is a reasonable shout. Tired from work is a fantastic
That's
shout.
a
Y.O.S.O,
great
you're
shout.
correct. Absolutely correct.
Will be
What was I saying?
streamed to.
Oh yeah, Zoe has become Too Hot for DotA has become franchise, and then my knowledge of Sitout is I like hanging out with Wurzag. I've played Dota with him a couple times, and he is significantly better than me, and I can hear the frustration that he tries to hide in his voice.
Oh
I
no.
played with Y.O.S.O the other day, and it was just one of those ones where it's like, I'm going to flame Y.O.S.O a little bit, but I'm going to flame Goon culture as a whole when it
Okay,
comes to playing Dota.
interesting.
People will say something.
Right.
They'll be like, oh man, what if we win a fight and then push? And then we'll win a fight
And not push?
and then even the person who has suggested that will just not push.
Well, why push when you can sit around the jungle
Y.O.S.O
and
is a
farm?
fantastic. It might just have been the game that we played the other day.
Right,
It
okay.
might have just been a moment in that day in that game, but there was an element of suggesting and then not actually following up on the suggestion that was made
Brilliant.
by the person who made the suggestion. So it's like, if you're going to suggest that we go Roche, when we get a pick off, don't be the opposite side of the map, please. You're the one that said, we should Roche before we take our next fight. Like, I'm not using specific examples that Y.O.S.O had. But like, let's be real. Stop suggesting things and then not being present for the thing you've suggested. It's a symptom of goon dotes. I am
Equally,
also a symptom. I am also a symptom of goon dotes.
I,
Part
I,
of the cure for goon dotes is eliminating me. Let me be
well,
clear.
that's probably the most tricky part about the whole Goon International is eliminating
Eliminating goon dotes.
eliminating that the Goon Dotes from your play.
I know that Admiral Seething, is a fairly strong player, and the word I hear about Ea-nasir, I've heard many, many words about Ea-nasir, and
Oh.
every single one of them points towards the fact that you should not be buying copper tablets from Ea-nasir.
Does he sell copper tablets?
You should not. Oh, do you not know what? So Ea-nasir is the username. Ea-nasir is a reference to Ea-nasir, a merchant, Mesopotamian. Hang on, I'm looking it up on Wikipedia right
okay.
now. Okay. Yes, a Mesopotamian merchant named Ea-nasir.
Okay.
So you literally Google Ea-nasir and the Wikipedia article is titled "Complaint Tablet to Ea-nasir." I'm going to read you the initial blurb of the Wikipedia article
Oh
word for
god,
word.
okay, fine.
The complaint tablet to Ea-nasir is a clay tablet that was sent to ancient city-state
Oh fuck, this was like...
written in roughly 1700 BCE.
Oh my god.
The tablet measuring thing documents a transaction in which Ea-nasir, a trader, allegedly sold substandard copper to a customer named Nani.
I didn't
Nani,
realise that.
dissatisfied with the quality, wrote a cuneiform complaint addressing the poor service and mistreatment of his servant.
That is amazing. I didn't realise
Discovered
that's...
by Sir Leonard Woolley in it is currently kept in the British Museum, written in Akkadian cuneiform. The tablet is recognised as the oldest customer complaint by the Guinness World Records. From 2015 onwards, the tablet's content, and Ea-nasir in particular, gained popularity as an internet meme due to its modern-sounding nature of dissatisfaction
Oh my
with goods.
god. I didn't realise that was who Ea-nasir was. I thought it was just some... I don't know, he was just memeing or something, but... That is fucking amazing.
He is memeing, but he is referencing the oldest known customer
That
complaint.
is fantastic. You know what? My respect for the man has gone up unbelievably so.
Discovered 3,750 years ago.
So, if anything,
well, written 3,750 years ago.
Very experienced at flaming his teammates. Then, surely.
Or at the very least, receiving.
Or... So, okay, fine. Well, in that case, I fully expect a lot of tips from Team Sitout towards Ea-nasir.
But yeah, there are. There were multiple other tablets found in the ruins believed to be Ea-nasir's dwelling.
Right.
Including a complaint from somebody who hadn't received their copper yet. Somebody who said they were tired of receiving bad copper. Essentially, this is back when you had to put it on a clay tablet.
Oh,
so people
God.
would put their complaint on a clay tablet, send it off to this guy, and he had a room in his house stacked full of complaints.
That is fantastic.
Kept every single complaint, and they have since been discovered for archaeological and historical reference.
Just, why would you keep that and then just get... He is forever immortalised as, apparently, just a bit of a shit bloke.
The worst copper merchant in Mesopotamia.
You better pick your hero. 5 seconds.
Oh, that's amazing. Fucking hell. What a bloke.
But yeah, Ea-nasir is a noted memed figure.
Okay, fine. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. You know what? Full respect for Ea-nasir then, because... that's just fantastic. That's made my day. That's fully made my day.
We are now seeing our first picks. So our bans are Tree, Shadow Demon, Clock, Medusa from the Radiant side, and then Disruptor, Vengeful Spirit, Drow, and Mars from the Radiant side, followed by picks of Shadow Fiend for the Radiant side, and Abaddon for the Dire side, and then a quick pair of bans. Well, I say a pair of bans. We're flirting with the reserve time for Sitout. Sand King on Too Hot For DotA. They fear Y.O.S.O Sand King.
I don't know why.
I've watched it. I don't know why, but I also know why. I don't want to play against it, but it's not good. But I'm not sure I want to play against it. It's the same as playing against anybody who has done. I believe it was a Bruce Lee quote or something, and it's like, I don't fear the man who's done 100 kicks one time. I fear the man who's done one kick 100 times.
I mean, it's like, I think that's the frustrating thing. It's like, it's not good, but it's not bad. And I think that perfectly summarizes Y.O.S.O, is that...
I think, ultimately, we are perfectly summarizing good dotes.
Yes.
These players are not good on these heroes. but they've not played every hero 2 or 3 times. They've played 2 or 3 heroes every time. So it's it's the Kyle Butters Jr. of the whole thing. Is
man, Rick, there's only 10
Kyle's
seconds left
Witch
to pick a
Doctor?
hero.
I'm going to call out his Witch Doctor particular. Kyle Butters Jr. Witch Doctor is not good.
No.
Kyle Butters Jr. almost exclusively plays Witch Doctor to the point where it's not good, but it's somehow good enough.
I mean, KBJ is an enigma. I think I've played like 2 games with him, both in which his Witch Doctor was banned, and ever since I've vowed to never play with him again.
It's when you play with him and he gets the Witch Doctor, you go, I think I understand it now, but you still don't necessarily want to be playing with Kyle Butters Jr. But speaking of heroes and picks, we're seeing Luna and Necro for DotA side, that's Too Hot For DotA, and we're seeing Lich on Team Sitout now.
That's quite
Which-
interesting. I quite
which
like the
means
Lich into
that
Shadow Fiend. I think it's very
Both
strong.
both teams have revealed a support, and Too Hot For DotA
You
have
better
revealed
pick
a
your hero,
support in
5
pick 1,
seconds.
but they've not done the classic. I mean, with the pick order change, it doesn't mean that it's pick, 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 and then back to bans. It's pick, pick, back to bans. So you have to open with a strong pick, something you really want to be confident with, something you really want to be locking in, because it was a classic for a number of years in Goondots that you would pick your 4 and 5 in that first pick
Yes.
window before locking your cause. Maybe it's the changes to it, or maybe it's just that people have upped their game, they've upped their level. And we're seeing Hoodwink. Most likely Hoodwink 4,
Yep.
but let's not get ahead of ourselves. This could be anything, this could go any direction here.
I mean, just thinking about lanes here, Shadow Fiend Lich, I mean, it seems strong. It becomes very, very tricky to gank this Shadow Fiend, and we've seen previously, if an SF can get a free lane and just hit creeps for 5 minutes, he becomes utterly unkillable. So it's... I'm a little bit scared for Too Hot For DotA. I think their Luna draft, while strong, it might lack that that fight back in sort of the early game.
So far, yes. And it gets even more concerning with the Axe.
I mean, Axe into Necro, is that...
Axe into Necro is not fantastic, but... And now Primal
That
Beast,
I
it actually
like.
gets... This is now stronger against the Axe. The strength of the Axe pick was essentially determined by the rest of Too Hot For DotA's team. And Primal Beast is... I think Primal Beast is fantastic against Axe, because Axe wants to dunk. Axe wants to force heroes to engage.
Absolutely.
That don't want to engage. Primal Beast wants to engage. Primal Beast does not care who they are engaging against. Primal Beast just wants to get in there and get the fight. Similar to Axe. In some ways, Axe is a little bit more picky about who the fight gets started with, but Primal Beast is there to start the fight, cause a ruckus, while everybody else gets 1 or 2 pickoffs on the edge before collapsing on whoever Primal Beast has bit and is slamming about.
And looking at the damage as well from the Radiant side on Sitout, they're lacking the magic burst to kill Necro. Like, sure, they've got the physical burst. As soon as Necro gets his W off with Death Shroud, or Death Shroud, or whatever it's called.
Whatever it's called.
Ghost Shroud, that's the one.
Yeah.
I mean, how do they kill him? It becomes really tricky, and I don't think Axe into Luna is that strong.
Do they just focus the rest of the team, wait out the Shroud, and then go on the Necro after? Maybe.
Maybe, but, I mean, trying to burst a Primal, trying to burst a Luna can be done, but if she gets the, I can't remember what the...
I'm going to be honest, bursting the Primal and bursting the Luna, it feels like you want to be looking at maybe a Drow, but that's banned. You want to be looking at maybe a PA, but I'm not sure PA's the pick into an Abaddon.
I think this is a carry SF though, no? This must be
a mid SF.
I haven't seen Seething play an SF, and I think it's way stronger as a carry. But it could, if it's mid. It could be interesting if it is mid. I mean, they are banning out Seething Kunkka, which has been seen to carry.
Has also been banned by Sitout, so
that's very smart. I like that.
Yeah, it's that gives them a lot more space to setup. It stops some of that backline focus. It
Absolutely.
frees up the Hoodwink. It frees up the Lich. In some ways, it frees up the Shadow Fiend, depending on how in the mix the Shadow Fiend
Well, I
is.
mean, Shadow Fiend shows up in a fight, he gets kissed. Like, he has to press BKB, otherwise he dies. We saw it in the game of OGs against Sitout, where they went Drow early into a Snapfire, and admittedly, OGs did lose that game. I'm still not bitter, but it's fine. But yeah, anytime Drow showed up and didn't have BKB, she just died. So I think
mean,
it's a really
the real
smart ban.
The real secret was retiring from your team before it hit the main stage. Play the group games and then just stop.
Yes, I mean that's the smart way to do it.
Not everybody has the galaxy brain that I do though.
Well,
Speaking of galaxy brains, when
Dawnbreaker.
Primal Beast charging in and picking up a hero gets the wrong one, just pick the right one with Dawnbreaker and go all in the circle.
Dawn is very. I love the circle drafts here.
Oh man,
This
I
is fantastic.
suppose this is now what, a mid primal maybe? No, this is sorry. No, I'm crazy. It's position 5 Dawnbreaker, position 4 Abaddon.
This honestly could be anything.
I'm so confused.
The only thing I'm sure of is that Luna is pos 1.
Yes,
The only thing in this draft I'm sure of is Luna is pos 1. But even then,
I'll be honest. I really like this Too Hot For DotA draft. I think it's
this
really
draft,
interesting.
this Too Hot For DotA draft is so unbelievably flexible. Primal Beast is 100% going to be in the offlane, whether it's 3 or 4, we don't know. Luna,
it could be a mid primal. It hasn't been good in a while, but it could be done.
well, it's similar to saying this could be Necro 4. Like, this is the thing, is this... We're now locking in, we're seeing it get locked in.
I don't know
But this
any of these players, so
I am going to have to open the spreadsheet.
Okay, where's the spreadsheet?
Ea-nasir is our position 1.
Yes, that much I do know. Seething is their
I
mid.
believe, yeah, Seething is their mid. Seething is not listed as... Oh, I'm looking at Too Hot For DotA. My apologies. So, this is a Shadow Fiend 1. You did call it.
Yeah.
And it is a Seething Pango, so it's a mid Pango.
Oh.
Then we flip to Too Hot For DotA. So we're seeing a mid Necro, as we expected.
Yeah.
We're seeing a position 3 Dawnbreaker.
Okay.
And a position 4 Primal.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. I would have preferred having that Dawnbreaker as a 4. I think it's a little bit more... You get more value out of the heals, right?
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm meaning by... This is such... I mean, not all of the options available are good, but this is such a flexible draft from Too Hot For DotA.
Oh, Christ.
There are so many different ways it could be arranged.
Yes,
I'm not
absolutely.
saying should be arranged, let me be clear. I'm not saying there are different ways it should be arranged. There are different ways it could be arranged and it could work.
Absolutely.
A number of those, it should not be arranged and it should not work.
Oh, Christ. Let's get some... Oh, I've got the wrong thing there. There we go.
Oh dear.
And
Okay, so, broadly speaking, as we get into it, before we run through who is where and who's on which heroes and how our lanes have shaken out, based just on the draft, not necessarily the items, the movements, based just on the draft, who do you feel has come out of this stronger and is more likely to win?
I think SF is always going to be a problem. I don't think I've seen a game so far where SF has been poor, and I'd wish that the SF was another hero. The amount of damage output from it, as long as you can get those early necromancy souls, it's so difficult to lane against. We've seen a Dawnbreaker lose really hard against an SF. It's been done before. I mean, I struggle to see how SF does lose his lane, and I don't know how you beat an SF that's won his lane. Equally, Luna late game is absurd. The amount of mixed damage that you can get, unless you've got BKBs, which will run very, very short, considering you've got a Necro, considering you've got Luna, Dawn, Primal, all this magic damage is absurd. I I struggle to see how Luna loses this late game, especially with an Abaddon hiding behind him.
So I'm hearing Radiant favoured for the early game, Dire favoured for the late game.
Yeah, I think so. It's
Do you
going to
think
be
it
close
gets
though.
late game?
That's what I think is going to be the tricky bit. If Sitout can end the game within 35 minutes, I think it should be quite comfortable. But I think a lot of that is going to be dependent on this mid lane. If Seething can
But
come out on top, it also depends on what the Rex goes in terms of items, whether he goes this greedy sort of Radiance build, which I think is rubbish. It could be interesting. It could be interesting.
well, anyway, let's just quickly run everybody through who is where and what we've got. So we've had our runes. Everybody, it looks like, secured 2 runes on each team. There was no smoke play. There was no level 1 first blood play. And in the bottom lane for Radiant side, we have Wurzag in our position 5 on Lich and Ea-nasir in our position 1 on Shadow Fiend for Radiant. The TheBastMaster on 4 and Leth on 3 on Primal Beast and Dawnbreaker respectively. And mid lane is Seething for Sitout and the Rax for Too Hot For DotA on Pangolier and Necro for Radiant and for Dire. And then Dire-sided in our top lane, we have Crab Marinated Herring playing Luna in our position 1 for Hot For DotA, Set Hep on Abaddon in position 5, and then Y.O.S.O is our position 3 for Sitout on Axe, and Lulu on Hoodwink facing off in that top lane. Which I ultimately think, this top lane is going to be the more interesting fight of the 2 side lanes.
I think so too. I mean, just a hoodwink. The amount of damage that can be put out from Acorn Shot. She hasn't. I'm kind of upset that she hasn't gone for a Blightstone. I think the value on it is super strong with the relatively low armor on Abaddon. I think it would be much better. Reducing that by 2 armor is just absurd. The amount of damage that can come out from Acorn Shot. However, interestingly, mid lane is. I mean, Seething had pretty much the showings of it for the first 2 waves, but the Ract has managed to slowly creep back in. But 5 denies already on Seething is it's going to be difficult to come back from that.
It's fantastic work.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see Leth as well is doing quite well. There's already 11 souls on SF. But
these first 5 minutes it's tricky to get a sense of who is actually winning the lane and who is purely from last hits and denies. I feel where the creep wave sits in the health bars, I think, give you a better indicator.
Absolutely.
For example, we look at this bottom wave and it is sat right under that Radiant Tower. We're seeing
Wurzag's in
those
trouble.
Dire heroes, but Wurzag's being gone in on. But again, it's right under that tower. It's still too low. Everybody's level 2. Yes, there's kill potential, but is it a kill reality? I don't think it's. I think we might see our first blood in the bottom lane, but I think we'll see more kills.
I agree.
Thank you, honey. I think we'll see more kills in this top lane overall.
I think so too, you know. I think as soon as Axe starts cutting creeps, getting those points in battle hunger, it becomes very difficult for anyone to really show in lane.
In
and
fact,
immediately
we
Herring
may be
is
looking
losing.
at our first blood in top lane here now.
Not quite.
Sorry, I've got a little bit of a tickly throat, so I might be coughing throughout this.
That's okay. Get yourself a couple of ciders, get a beer or 2, you'll be alright.
Well, I've just
bit of trouble on
I've just been handed
Ea-nasir
some
bottom.
dinner.
Oh, perfect. Is Lulu in trouble? Doesn't look like it. But Y.O.S.O does seem to be completely bullying out this this Luna already in the early game. So doing very well in CS and denies as well. 4 denies is pretty crucial.
Complete confidence in Y.O.S.O in this lane dominance, such that this Hoodwink can just, in some ways, disengage and start to really bully while Y.O.S.O farms.
Absolutely. I think I'd like to see some rotations from Lulu. I think early as well. using those points in Acorn Shot. I think taking Scurry early is a bit of a mistake. They don't really have that much rundown for her. So that might be a little bit of a misplay, but we'll see. Ea-nasir is getting gone on, but there's
Well, Y.O.S.O's a wave and a half or so from his phase boots, and yeah, you're right. Here in the bottom lane is the action.
Yeah, I think the amount of damage that this SF is going to be putting out is going to be very tricky to lane against it. But they are managing to get some decent damage out lane when they can, so very interesting. Y.O.S.O is comfortably denying under tower, rather unfortunately, but here we go. Okay. So what are you expecting from this this Pango? Unfortunately, he's not managed to capitalise on his early lead that he had in the lane. Now a few levels behind, but he does manage to pick up a DD rune. Can he do something?
Early-ish, or
bold use of Scythe there. I think Seething's absolutely fine now. He's got Swashbuckle. He's got another rune. Oh, we've missed First Blood. Whilst we were chasing around our Pangolier.
And it was in top lane. Y.O.S.O got it.
Yeah. I mean, just as you predicted.
Oh,
there's a flurry of kills. I'm missing all of them.
There we go. Oh, we missed it in the bottom lane on Ea-nasir there. Like I say, I did think that we would have a more exciting top lane, but we would see First Blood in this bottom, but maybe I was wrong.
Yeah. I mean, Ea-nasir does fall, which is, I think, absolutely critical. If Dawnbreaker can get out of the lane with enough. I mean, she's picked up a Soul Ring, which I think is really smart. Getting that extra armor just to negate as much as possible the Necromancy is super important.
What I'm really looking for from Seething here is we're not too far away from the treads, but potentially even before we get those, looking for a gank realistically in that top lane, not necessarily in that bottom lane. It's going to be a lot harder to come by a gank in that bottom lane than it is in the top lane. Between Primal Beast, between Dawnbreaker, and then that top lane, if you go for the gank, you might be able to pull away the Dawnbreaker, pull that Dawnbreaker out of that bottom lane. If you pick your moment, wait. Dawnbreaker is now 5.5, I'll say, with the Soul Ring eyeing up the phase boots, but Y.O.S.O has the phase boots, he has the full wand. Lulu has the Bassi. We are 300 gold away from the arcane boots. Lulu lands those arcane boots, rotate up with the right rune on 8 minutes. We've got an arcane in the top spot. This could be if they're willing to dive, this could be the fight that gets Lulu and Y.O.S.O 6 off of 1 kill, and those 2 level 6s gets the 2nd kill, gets the tower to half health.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see that the tower already is... it has taken a little bit of damage. Not a load, but it is getting there. So it'll be interesting to see just how early Y.O.S.O could press this lead. As they do go on Herring, they do manage to get the stun off, but not quite enough follow-up, unfortunately, to capitalise on that. And he's already got his Morbid Mask as well, so...
Yeah. Are they calling for rotate? We've got a TP on Seething. Seething comes up, hits the roll. Is that a kill? Maybe.
I mean, that's the other thing is I really, really want to see Seething rotate. I think it'll be absolute if he can get that first rotation and really do something. The Rack has already used his scythe and been unsuccessful with it, so it'll be fascinating to see if he can get something out of it. So a little
this
bit
is
of
the thing:
shot.
is Pango as a mid feels very rotating, feels very ganky. You're not asking for the ganks, you're looking for them.
Absolutely.
And here we go, the charge in bottom lane.
Can they get Ea-nasir again? It's going to be a huge kill if they can.
Seething's come in, TP with the roll.
There's a lot of TPs.
Come down as well. This is some brilliant hits, saving the position 1, but where's the capitalization and where are the other TPs?
Can't quite manage to finish anything out of it. But very good effort and quick rotation as well from Seething to prevent any serious damage. If he doesn't TP and immediately roll there, Ea-nasir is 100% falling. So huge rotation there, really, really important. Making sure that the lead that the Dawnbreaker has already pulled out on SF isn't...
An incredible team effort there, really understanding the ultimately the team sacrifice that goes into a position 1 game.
Absolutely. But Ea-nasir is sitting relatively low in the net worth. He hasn't had the lane that he needed to really snowball. This Luna is in counterpoint. He is starting to farm up, get those items. He's got a tier 1 token already, and we'll see what he can do with that, and which one he picks up.
We're seeing the items coming out now.
Oh, and there's the kill on. He's missed it.
That's the abandon going down, and the Dawnbreaker comes in.
Oh, the pushback into the Dawn
Primal
was
Beast came
absolutely
up. This
fantastic.
is now 3 in top. This was a +2 to top. This is a
Ooh.
free lane. The Radiant bottom to push, but we see this. This is all 5 heroes coming to top. This is a 5-hero move in the top lane from Too Hot For DotA.
And really, they should be pressuring on that, but instead they
Fortune
rotate
back
back bottom. They'll see if they can pick up any sort of kill is really value here. And they go
Satch from
for...
behind, but Seething comes in, hits the roll.
Ooh, this is turning bad.
Saves Wurzag, hits Leth, stunned.
I think
Y.O.S.O's down here as well.
They just need to leave. They
Are
just
we
need to
going to
leave.
see a dunk? It's on cooldown.
And Ea-nasir does pick up that kill. So, pretty crucial rotations there. They do send all of their heroes top, and a bit of a go on Luna top as well. I don't think Lulu really has quite enough damage to capitalize on that, but meanwhile, mid tower is slowly ticking down. It's a bit of a... I mean, Seething is, whilst he rotated, he's farming creeps and doesn't have TP to defend his tower, and we check TPs. No one's TPing to prevent this this Necro from slowly farming up a Radiance. I mean, do you have any opinions on Radiance Necro? I'm not a fan.
I think Radiance is a cancerous item that should have its damage doubled.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't think it should be removed from the game. I am, broadly speaking, in general, I am anti-nerf. I am buff other broken shit.
Okay.
Like, if something is so far broken that it cannot be touched, yeah, fine, bring it back down. Something like a Radiance Necro is very powerful.
I
My
think
thoughts and feelings are you should bring something else up to a similar level, not necessarily to directly counter it, but it's if you're playing Radiance Necro, if the opposing team is playing Radiance Necro, do you try and counter the Radiance Necro, or do you go with your other thing that is equally powerful, just as busted? Like, you're not answering their threat, but both of you are forcing each other to answer your own threat.
Or
In the rest of your...
I disagree. I think if you're gonna buff something, well, I've always thought just nerf stuff. There's too much health in the game. I mean, I was watching a clip of, I think it was TI8 with a mid pugner, level 22. It was a Thompson play on where he just one hits the I think Armade Drow or something. It was level 22. And he adds 1800 HP. Like, immediately, bring back that kind of Dota. Bring back a Dota where... Ooh, there's a blink reveal on Y.O.S.O. They managed to get the stun as well, but he misses the dunk. Why is he dunked so early? Oh, Y.O.S.O, Y.O.S.O, Y.O.S.O.
What looks like a +2 in top.
They don't manage to get any other
Ea-nasir
picks.
and Leth is going in on Ea-nasir.
Don't think he's got the damage to really do anything about him.
Leth has the damage, but to do anything massive, but enough to bother.
And that's all he needs to do is just ooh, there's the... That was bold. That was very bold as he goes in.
It was, and it's paid off.
Oh dear. I mean, standing next to a Necro with not a Necro, a Shadow Fiend with a lot of souls is brave to say the least.
And it's not worked out for Leth. But you know what? Decisions were made, and it's better than standing there and freezing up.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd rather people make plays than not. I've always found it boring. There's 4 heroes in the top lane. as they jump onto Yo.
And Dawnbreaker's dropping in, but I
Don't know if they
think
get.
it really matters. Maybe
I think they're all fine.
everybody's fine.
Is it?
This
It's almost fine. It's very close, unfortunately.
Here we go. The pendulum swings.
Oh, that was. You know what? That's the kind of fights that I want to see. A lot of spells being cast, not a lot happening, and then at the end, 2 heroes dying. That's the dream.
And that fight as well really could have gone either way. The wrong targeting, the wrong collapse.
Absolutely.
The wrong like I say targeting, but from the roll or that little bit of RNG in those right clicks.
Absolutely. I mean, you saw Starbreaker get cancelled by the roll as well, so absolutely critical from all of these heroes, and they immediately smoke out. It might have been under the ward. It might have been under the ward. We'll see. We'll see if that actually.
Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. But we're seeing 2 of them
do
move
immediately
in.
jump on the racks. This is
hitting the call.
critical that he does not die.
Necro, but,
and they missed the dunk
and the
again.
Beast. But here's the thing: while the dunk was missed, Primal Beast comes in too late to save the Necro.
Absolutely.
Too early to get a pick off.
And you're seeing the lack of strength in this Primal Beast 4 in that, yes, he initiates very strong. He's got that BKB piercing stun, but if a hero's in trouble, how can you react to it? Where's the save? And I think that's critical in most... In this patch, position 4s have to have a save. They have to be able to jump in and protect a hero, like a Lich. And this is another reason why I think Lich is a strong hero, is just Frost Shield is a 50% damage reduction at level 2. Level 2! For 110 mana. How is that sane? And Seething does go down to the Scythe from the racks, getting that valuable Aretha Scythe kill, and he does have Radiance on Courier. They have pinged out Luna top, and he is farming. They're gonna pick up the kill here. There's no way that he can play himself out of this. There's no dunk available. Doesn't quite manage to get
I think this is a fantastic showing of a game plan from Sitout here. Is they are playing 3 or 4, and they are hunting a position 1, whereas and it is in many ways forcing Too Hot For DotA to react to that. Too Hot For DotA are now in a reactionary position, but their position 1, Ea-nasir on the Shadow Fiend, he's sitting here, he's got his Dragon Lance, he's got his Morbid Mask, he's got his Wand, he's got his Power Treads, and 3 branches.
And he's fully recovered from his poor laning stage as well. I mean,
farming the lane, farming the camps.
This is
everybody else hunts Luna.
He's got a full Hurricane Pike.
Luna's sitting here a little bit more. Oh yes, what a delivery! Luna's sitting here, just as farmed up maybe, but less effective in the items. I think that's due to how Luna works as a hero.
Yeah.
You're going for your Manta style first item, you're not going for your Hurricane Pike. Your Yasha, like, yes, Mask of Madness is your farming item in both heroes, but your Yasha is as much a farming item as anything else. Whereas a Dragon Lance can be something that allows you to come into those early fights, get the pick or 2, and then disengage and go farm.
I mean, they really want this
like
SF,
Too Hot For DotA are trying to flip the tables.
Absolutely, but they're just too quick with these rotations from Sitout to quickly identify that SF is in trouble and everyone rotates. I mean, we've got 9 heroes in this bottom lane. Not great for this Shadow Fiend, but whilst
the only
Luna
one missing is this underfarmed Luna. Well, I say that.
He's second to the net worth.
Second in net worth.
She's farming very nicely.
On last hits.
There's no stats available for her, unfortunately, but here comes the early push. Ea-nasir almost does have that level 15 talent.
This is a tower down and a fight in potential, but just not quite where Sitout are looking to take it, I think.
Exactly. I mean, this Axe is looking to jump. If he jumps, it's very dangerous. He's in a lot of trouble here. This is very bold.
Call, the drop and the charge out from the Primal.
This could be trouble. This could be trouble.
It looks like Pango's coming in with the roll, though.
And with the Lich ulti that doesn't quite hit on anything but
Axe
creeps.
is down. Lich ulti
Luna
down.
has turned up with the
Lich
ulti.
is about to get picked off at the back from Eclipse.
Oh, this is a
And it
very,
might be a
very
pick
strong
off on the
fight.
Hoodwink as well. This is maybe
Very good stun there.
a brilliant stun. Fantastic A1 from Lulu.
He's got the Q up, and Lulu does fall.
That's
Huge
3 heroes
fight.
lost.
Huge fight and massive net worth swing as well.
They had them in an area here where they looked to commit. The Axe jumped in. They came up from the side. They came up from underneath. But then we saw coming down in 3 directions, closing in 1 from the Radiant. There wasn't this ultimately. While yes, you closed in on 3 directions, they were stood in better positions to react.
And here you can see the brilliance of this draft as well, where Sitout want to be pushing this early leads with the SF early timings. I mean, how do you fight into a Necro Primal Beast Dawn? It's impossible for this Axe to call anyone and immediately burst them.
Yeah, there was the 2-hero call, but Too Hot For DotA have taken the foot off the gas and are happy to coast and let it come to them, it looks like.
Luna is in a lot of trouble here, though. He does back off and gets the call. There's no way that he lives.
And the roll and the bushwhack.
I don't think there's any way that...
Here we go. The dunk was
misses the dunk again. How many dunks is that he's missed? He's got 1, I think. No, he hasn't.
I don't think we have seen a single dunk hit this whole game.
I think he's got 1, maybe? How does this work?
Far.
Killing with Culling Blade gives 3 times the amount. No, he hasn't. He's cast it 3 times and missed every single time. Oh, Y.O.S.O is not having quite the game that he needs to have to prevent this this early timing. And
that last one as well was, I think, maybe the closest to hitting.
Yes, I mean, Y.O.S.O is not quite having the game that he really needs, and I mean. Meanwhile, Necro is farming and he's slowly building up to that Shiva's Guard, which is going to do a lot of work against SF, slowing down his attack speed and giving plenty of armor. So,
our
really
Hoodwink does have the ATOS. We do have a finished Solar Crest on the Primal Beast, Radiance on the Necro, and a Veil, Echo Saber on the Dawn Saber. Dawnbreaker, my apologies. We're looking to build a BKB now on Luna with a finished Manta, a Dragon Lance, and a Mask of Madness.
Yeah, but that BKB on Dawnbreaker is also coming, so...
Abaddon, true POS 5 nature, Bing chilling, Arcane Boots, 1 point booster, and
going straight away for that Ags. I like it a lot. I mean, this Ags is really strong, especially when they've got this wide spread of damage that's gonna trigger on this this Abaddon, whether he likes it or not. He's going to be firing out those mist coils as soon as he gets pops his ult, so needs to be really careful on target priority here. Whether or not they can pop off that borrowed time and quickly leave, disengage, or take a fight around it becomes very, very tricky in a lineup that's already very hard to kill. It's going to be interesting. We'll see what this next fight turns out to be, because...
I think ultimately this is what swings most games, but I think this one more than most is the target prioritization from both teams, honestly.
Absolutely.
Radiant picks the wrong target in a fight. They start going on the Primal
and
Beast.
They just managed to TP out there.
Abaddon, they've lost that fight. If they pick the wrong moment to go in on Primal Beast or Abaddon or maybe Dawnbreaker, that's game over. But equally, if Dire picks the wrong moment to go in on Axe or on Pango, that's fight over. You get the wrong call, you get the wrong roll. As from a Dire side perspective, you get the wrong call, you get the wrong roll. That's your Luna down, that's your Necro down, that's 2 of your biggest damage dealers. And then you're hanging out with, yes, a Dawnbreaker in a core position, yes, an Abaddon, and yes, a Primal Beast, but your Primal Beast and your Abaddon are sitting 8th and 9th in the net worth you are not looking at huge game-changing effects. When we talk about the levels as well, we are looking at, again, 8th and 9th in levels. We're sitting on level 11, equal to the Lich, the position 5 here on Radiant. You get left with your position 3, somebody who you want to be making those plays, but your position 3.5, I'm going to air quotes it because there's been no farm, there's been no levels for this Primal Beast so far. It's just that playmaking role, that playmaking position. Flip side, Radiant, they lose their Lich and their Hoodwink. That's fine. They still have somebody who can set up in their Axe. They still have somebody who can control in the Pango and somebody who can dish out the damage in the Shadow Fiend. It is absolutely a case of wrong targeting leads to Radiant winning fights, leads to sit out, pushing and closing off more of the map.
Absolutely.
But again, you called it at the end, at the start of the game. If this goes another 20 minutes, 25 minutes, Too Hot For DotA really get to come online. Luna's looking at being 6-slotted. Necro's looking at being 6-slotted. Dawnbreaker's got 3 or 4. The space opens up that maybe, realistically the Luna won't, but maybe the Necro takes that a little bit of a back seat. Gets some space for that Primal Beast in the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. And we start to see Primal Beast open up, pick up a few more items, pick up...
It's going
I
Axe
don't know,
next.
This is going in on Y.O.S.O here, right under that tower, but we're seeing a TP coming in from Lulu. Seething's here.
Seething early TP.
Wurzag has just come up. This might be a Dawnbreaker death. This is a poor initiation in the safe lane from a team again, but it was under a tower this time. Said Hep making use of borrowed time, but this might not be enough.
Y.O.S.O again. It does jump and tries to call, but does miss. But there's the damage from SF. He's got his Chrysalis. I mean, this is their timing.
He's absolutely spitting out on this Primal Beast, who should be able to be sitting front line and tanking.
Absolutely.
I would love to see... I know it's never going to happen on a position 4, but a casual Sand.
I think he needs armor, honestly. I mean, he's gone the Solar Crest, but he needs something just a bit more. He needs a little bit more just durability in these fights. Most of their damage is going to be physical, but...
That is our first tier 2 of the game as well.
Yeah, so they've refreshed that...
Radiant have a full lane of towers in top, whereas Dire have just lost their tier 2. It looks like Radiant are in a better position to begin to close off this map. And capitalise on momentum.
But it is 5k up. We have seen games be lost from this winning position. I mean, Luna is still farming. Luna is farming Ancients. I mean, it's... I think at this point they just need to live around this SF and just let him sit in front and take towers.
Does look like they're thinking about it. Does look like they're trying exactly that. Absolutely decimating this mid-tier 2 as well.
It's so much damage, but Herring does have BKB. He's got his Manta as well. He's got 3 levels in Eclipse. This is a very strong Luna. Very strong indeed. I mean, doesn't quite have the right click damage, and Lich has stepped up a little bit too far forward.
This is... Oh, and Dawnbreaker's coming in.
And that's immediate pick-off. There's the ult from Ea-nasir, and Leth is going in on Y.O.S.O. They do manage to get ults off on Luna, but immediately melts to the SF, popping BKB, and just kills them.
Leth is going as well. Ea-nasir looks like thinking about death, but dropping half the health, almost all of the health off of that. Baden, I would love to see the breakdown of damage there.
So much damage from SF. This is why you cannot let this hero through and let it have a free game. You have to pick counters. And they've just failed to do so. I mean, they're just running away with it now. I don't see how you can focus and not immediately pick off this SF. If you do not pick him off in the beginning of the fight, prevent him from getting his BKB off, I mean, he's gonna kill you. And that's a...
Sitting here with 23 souls, they've taken out the 5th hero that they didn't previously. Necro is back up. But this tier 3
desperate.
falls, and they're gonna keep looking at the racks. Dire heroes are coming up, but the amount of building damage coming out from this SF I'm not so sure
Don't think they can
that
defend without.
Seething, sorry, Ea-nasir
He does
cares.
not give a shit.
Your heroes are up, your racks are not.
And there you can see why it's so bad to defend a tier 3 on your own. 23 souls on SF. I mean, he's going to chunk down your buildings. He had 5 lasting presences as well. How are you standing
We're
against him?
beginning to see it in the net worth graph. Yes, this Luna's farming fantastically, but losing in these fights, dying in these fights, the SF is pulling ahead, sitting 4.5, 4K ahead, which sounds minimal, but when we look at the pure difference on the bars
He's
here
got
with
a
the
full
net worth
Daedalus.
for
He
the
has a
whole team,
full Daedalus on SF. And Luna is still
one,
trying to farm towards Kanda, which
2 more fights, this SF will be an entire Abaddon ahead of the Luna in net worth.
I think it's going to be one more fight and it's just GG. I don't see, unless they can. I think they have to walk into Roche here and take Roche on SF, because if he dies now, that is so much gold. He's currently oh, and we've got a pause as Y.O.S.O. Y.O.S.O's internet is
Issues.
internet issues. Discord is fucked. Comms issue.
It doesn't seem to have affected them so far.
Yeah.
Keep going, lads. Go
That
on.
sounds like a you problem, honestly.
I'm going to use this moment to grab a beer.
Oh, I am going to do the same as we look at. We can look at KDA. 4 kills on Lulu, absolutely huge. And
That's not bad.
that's not bad at all
That's a strong effort.
I mean, he's got a full Gleipnir. This is a very strong. I think this is why people have been banning against Hoodwink on Lulu specifically. It's very good.
Gleipnir,
It's very good.
kind of. There
Uh,
we go. Tonight's beer of choice is Camden Hells.
ooh, good beer. Good beer.
In the pub, it was a neck oil, and I had inches in the fridge.
I'm not sure what
So
I've got
that
in
was
the
the
fridge
cider
actually. Ooh, I've got some IPA. I'll be right back.
Sounds great. So while we've not got you, talking through my sort of vision of how this game goes is it's another one fight from Sitout. They're gonna let that Dawnbreaker sit back, let that Dawnbreaker come in, but they'll have already gotten their picks. So Too Hot For DotA will already be playing 4v5, and which just leads them to snowball. They'll get, let's say, the Necro or the Luna.
Oh,
They'll follow up, they'll drop that Abaddon nice and low, and immediately change their mind about who they care about. Turn around and burst that Abaddon right back down. The way it comes in again, the way it comes back, for Too Hot For DotA, I think relies on Roche. I think Too Hot For DotA coming back in this game, they need an Aegis, and they need it realistically on Dawnbreaker or Luna. They're going to want to put it on Luna or Necro or maybe Primal Beast, and they're right to want to put it on Luna, but I think they are wrong to try and put an Aegis on Primal Beast as their way back into the game.
I mean, I think they have to put it on Luna, no? And Luna has to get some really good value out of it as well. Force that BKB at least on the first life from SF.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
they have to just focus on it.
If they get the Roche and they put it on the Dawnbreaker, Dawnbreaker has to initiate, and it can't be with Solar Guardian.
Absolutely.
Dawnbreaker has to go down, and Dawnbreaker has to reinitiate with Solar Guardian.
Yeah, I mean, where are buybacks as well? Because that's going to be critical for this next fight. And they don't.
We're seeing buybacks available on Shadow Fiend, Luna, Axe, Dawnbreaker, Hoodwink, and Abaddon.
I mean, this Dawnbreaker ult, as long as if he can die early, get spells off, and reinitiate, they do quickly pick up that Roche on SF.
Right onto Ea-nasir.
I honestly, I think this is GG. Unless they can get a fantastic pick off on Ea-nasir, but I don't see why Sitout would ever break from this five-man rotations. They should really be cutting waves, but
I think they come up the lane, they park right on this, right here, right up on this high ground.
absolutely.
I don't think, I know that it's the biggest tower damager here. I'm not sure Ea-nasir should be the one on the low ground.
I mean,
Radiant's top
I disagree. I think with BKB with Aegis, you just man up. There's no way that he dies, right? It's
Ea-nasir is looking for him, but the rest of the team wants to disengage.
he is solo. If they can maybe initiate, maybe they could have gotten something out of it, but the rest of the team was very close and would have quickly been on the scene to prevent any sort of serious damage going out to him. Let's have a look at what are we looking at? Oh, net worth. That's the one. That's the wrong one. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. We see that Ea-nasir on this net worth graph is continuing to absolutely storm ahead of this Luna,
He
although
is
this Luna's
huge.
holding position still as that final position one. The Crystallis is finished, but the Daedalus is not. We're looking at the Kanda.
It doesn't quite have it though.
But it's SF walks up to high ground. So
Can they
close
burst him?
here.
They have to burst him here.
Here
They
we
have
go.
to. They do not have a choice.
Chain Frost. They're trying, but it's not working well enough. Aegis goes down. SF's going to come back and...
That's BKB used on SF. Maybe they can get a fight here.
This is good.
This is very good from
Not sure they
Too Hot from
can.
DotA. Can they reinitiate? They can't quite find anyone. Is there any way to stop the stuns? They do have it, and they picked off the SF and the ultra kill on Luna. I mean, oh, there's 2 buybacks. It's very costly, but a huge kill. And
Potentially controversial take when that SF came back up. Ignore their team. Click that tower.
just hit the tower. I mean, he immediately BKBs and tries for the ult,
Immediate
but the
BKB,
Dawn
immediate ult, and then turning on the Necro doesn't secure the kill. If that kill was secure and then turn for the tower, or immediate BKB, no ult, just click tower, I think we would be missing another die tier 3. We'd be missing the SF, we would be missing all the heroes that died, but Radiant would have gained an objective, I think.
That's huge kills on Luna as well. Absolutely critical. And it's finished off as Kanda.
Yeah,
This
that
game
fight,
just went from,
that ultra kill has brought that Luna back into the game.
and it's
back
just
into...
become very interesting. And it should be absolutely critically mentioned that this is an elimination match. If anyone makes another mistake, that's it. You're out. No more no more GTI for you. You're going home. And I mean that hold from Too Hot for DotA, really showing that they don't want to leave. They're not quite ready to keel over and give in. There's a couple of buybacks used.
Bracket drama on a Tuesday night.
Do pick up the Tormentor that goes onto the Dawnbreaker, so they do get
Lovely to see.
actually a really value shard that I'm surprised he hasn't picked up earlier. Picking up the Starbreaker debuff immunity, mini BKB. I mean, into SF, you can dodge most of the damage from his ult. Lich, you can dodge damage from pretty much all of his abilities. You can prevent getting stunned by the Pango. It's very value.
We do see Sitout beginning to form up, all 5 of them here at this top lane.
Yeah, and we see if they
Playing
try again to
in
go
that
high ground.
team's fashion. Y.O.S.O coming
He is
down
sitting
to
under
the
vision though on
game.
Ea-nasir. They'll see if they fall for this trap. Y.O.S.O goes for the...
Rats.
Oh, there is a
Hits the
full Shiva's
Shivas.
Guard on
I
him.
don't think this is going to be enough.
That's more than enough, apparently.
I am wrong.
Seething
And
with the
Abaddon
roll
as
through.
well had borrowed time off cooldown, but it was also not enough.
I mean, this is
That's
another
the
set of
two
racks.
pick-off-
Another set of
That's
racks.
the 2 pick-offs. They're going for the wave. They should, I would say, they should be cutting. Only one of them should have gone back to that wave.
Absolutely. I mean, as well, they're just stepping out way too far forward. There's no way that that Necro should be getting picked off like that at all.
Here we go,
As Y.O.S.O
Joker's
jumps
gone
in with the
swamped in.
call, Immediate buyback from Dawnbreaker.
Dawnbreaker to hit that Solar Guardian. But
From
the tower is at half health.
it's so much damage from the SF. It was a necro
What's
buyback.
that? 3-4 hits from the SF. That's all they need. They just need to get up. They don't need to win the fight. They just need to get some
They just need to click it.
tower hits happening. Chip damage, incremental, slow siege, whatever you want to call it. Every right click is a right click closer to victory.
And interestingly enough, Luna's gone Blink Dagger. Now, I'm
not sure I like this.
I don't hate it. I also don't like it. I think he should have just gone straight Daedalus.
I think they're playing too far behind. I don't think this Blink Dagger does enough for them.
Exactly. I mean, how does it change fights, right?
10 minutes ago, this Blink Dagger would have been good.
Yes.
Blink Dagger before the full Kunda? Sure. Blink Dagger before the Daedalus? No.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this Blink Dagger, when you're being hemmed into your base, when you're defending tier 3s, what is a Blink Dagger doing for you as a Luna?
Absolutely.
What positioning do you need from a Blink Dagger that you don't get from killing heroes?
Absolutely. I mean, it's I understand that item choice. It's a nice item to have on a Luna. Being able to blink in, ult, press BKB, and demolish the backlines. But I just
Swift
don't
blink is
think
what's being looked at here. But I think by the time this is finished, I think it's game over. I think they're pushing the tier 4s by the time Luna finishes this Swift blink.
I think so too. I mean, Ninja Gear as well picked up.
And I do mean the Radiant pushing Dire's tier 4s.
I'm buybacks are now on cooldown. I mean, it's going to be really, really tricky to prevent another high ground push. I mean, if Sitout go now, sure, they've got all the ultimates up. There is a smoke
Right
up
now, the
on
only people with buybacks
are Luna, Axe, Lich, and Shadowfiend has just secured it. We're about to see an Abaddon and a Pango secure buybacks. I think if this comes down to buybacks, this is Radiant-sided.
Yes,
We've got
absolutely. I mean, ooh,
3
SF is
buyback
very
cooldowns
far
on
forward. He
Riot.
doesn't realise he's under complete vision. He's in a lot of trouble here. He pops BKB.
Axe hits
Axe
the
call. He turns around with the ult and BKB. He just right clicks.
That's it.
Everyone is GG.
That's absolutely it.
And
that is
Luna
GG.
doesn't do enough with this the Blink Dagger.
Goodbye, Abaddon. This is exactly what I meant. What positioning does the Blink? If you had the Daedalus, do you get that kill? Maybe.
And Luna dies as well. He has to buy back here.
Has to.
It's kind of
have to see
desperate
it as
ult
well
there
from-
from Necro, and it's just GG. Unfortunately, they weren't able to pick up that the SF early enough in that fight. He managed to get off the BKB before Primal ult, and as it came in, Y.O.S.O comes in with the blink. I mean, he may have done very little this game, but my god, he knows how to click one button and
Do you know what?
blink. And
Blink
they call the GG.
saved that SF.
Absolutely.
Saving that SF won them the game.
Absolutely. I mean,
As
you
much
don't need
as-
to do...
As much as I would like to talk about Y.O.S.O hitting no early dunks, Y.O.S.O losing that fight where the tier 1 should have been in that bottom lane. Do you know what? When it mattered, Y.O.S.O showed up, pressed the right 2 buttons in the right order, and did it in the way that needed to be done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You don't need to
Much
press
as I'd
every
love
button.
to talk much as I'd love to talk shit, when it mattered, Y.O.S.O made it happen.
100%. 100%. And that call won them the game, fundamentally. So, you know what? Massive well played. Like, sure, you didn't have the best game throughout the entire game, but when it mattered, Y.O.S.O delivered. So, MVP?
Yeah.
Do you have a particular MVP?
I am inclined to say Lulu.
Honestly, I agree.
Because here's the thing. Ea-nasir farmed and got big and won through being big. That doesn't mean that you're the most valuable. The net worth says that you are the most valuable, but that doesn't tell the full story. Seething did some fantastic work, but I think that Lulu and Y.O.S.O and I'm not sure who was leading those calls and those decisions in the comms
Mm.
in that time where they enabled Ea-nasir to farm the wave, but they just shut down the Luna 2-3 times there. Shutting down that Luna 2 or 3 times in that top lane just after Win moving out of the laning stage, while that didn't win them the game,
It prevented
that
a runaway
opened,
Luna.
that opened up that they could.
Absolutely.
And that 100, while it may not have been the sole thing that led to the win, the critical point to the win as well was again in that top lane. It was Ea-nasir being out of position. That's not what led to the win. That could have been the throw, but Y.O.S.O reacting, blinking in, getting that call, Lulu coming in, Seething coming in. As a whole, Sitout have played as the better team this game.
I
Too
agree.
Hot For DotA came in, there was a clear plan, and they began to execute, but the problem is they were forced into reaction. They were forced into response too early, and they began to lose that battle, that they couldn't begin that proactive Dota, that forcing the play to come, forcing the play to happen, and putting yourself in an advantage for the follow-up play.
100%. I think this SF draft is so tempo setting that Too Hot For DotA just didn't quite have the impetus, the ability to actually prevent them from just walking up to a tower, putting the SF in front, and just clicking it. I mean, you saw it time and again where SF was the only hero showing. How can you jump him when you've got an axe, when you've got a Pango with Blink, when you've got a Lich sitting behind him?
You know, there's no. But here's the thing as well. We spoke about it. That we spoke about the Y.O.S.O Sand King ban. Had Y.O.S.O been giving Sand King instead of Axe, let's say that's the only difference in both these lineups. Y.O.S.O gets Sand King instead of Axe. I think that Sitout run away with this game faster than they would have otherwise.
Yes.
I don't think they would have won. I think they still would have won in the same time that they won. I do think that they would have won. That is correct. When I say I don't think they would have won, I mean I don't think they would have won as hard or fast.
Yes.
It would have been a lot slower. It would have been a lot more even in through that mid to late game.
Absolutely.
I think that early into mid game, it would have been a lot more space for Sitout to capitalize on, especially once you get that 6 on Sand King, that
100%.
rotation from Seething. That opens up so much more space for Ea-nasir to farm, whether it's the safe lane, the off lane, the triangle, the jungle. All you're doing is being a distraction.
Absolutely.
But I'm also, yeah, we spoke about that, but then we see Too Hot For DotA. We saw, when we look at what the bans were ultimately, there was a Drow ban. I think Drow instead of Luna. I don't know, I can't remember which team banned Drow, but I think Drow instead of Luna would have done more here. I think you keep these lineups the same, swap Luna for Drow. I would be more inclined to say Too Hot For DotA in a better place to come back.
Honestly, I think their draft was fine. I think it was purely teamfight execution. Their target priority, as you very keenly mentioned, was just not quite there. You saw time and again where SF wasn't initiated on, and he could just freely click and murdered the shit out of them. There was nothing that they could do to stand in front of them. So
SF rolling up to a fight, activating borrowed time, not giving a fuck, full healing Abaddon, and then going, okay, I'm gonna click you 4 times, also you're gonna get hit with Bushwhack, and killing the Abaddon is
just absurd.
It really showed how much this SF could click for,
100%.
and how much of a problem the SF was a problem for Too Hot For DotA.
Absolutely. I mean, I think their target prioritization, unfortunately, just wasn't there. I didn't see enough of that Primal Beast just sitting and ulting SF before he got BKB. I think there was a fight, where was it? Around the 30-minute mark where they were just in front of the tier 2 mid, which resulted in a big old Too Hot For DotA loss. The fact that
Anyway,
SF
this
just was
feels
really
like
hitting was upset.
if we have a look at our standings now, this puts Sitout through to
Let's see if I
where
can
are we?
actually.
Where's the here we go. Sitout Too Hot For DotA. This puts Sitout through to facing Gubcord in another elimination match.
I just looking at Gubcord, I think Sitout will have that comfortably. I think it will be a similar result to today. I think Gubcord so far have beaten two. Well, I mean, they beat Granny's Cookies, fair enough. Mancaf, strong team, but it was a close game.
Gubcord went 0-3 in the groups, came into the main stage, and lost against Black Country Widows, beat Granny's Cookies, beat Mancaf. Mancaf, it feels like, were their only serious team that they've faced in a match that matters. Team who, if Gubcord win the next match, they will be facing Halo 3 Soundtrack, who were in the same group. So Gubcord, if they beat Sitout, will be facing somebody who they've already lost to in the group, which, even if Gubcord go through, but with the way that Sitout have performed today, Sitout also did lose to Halo 3 Soundtrack to knock them down into this lower bracket.
Absolutely.
We will see Sitout versus Gubcord. It means that the winner of the next match in this portion of the bracket will be facing a team they have already lost against, which is an interesting proposition. But that means that one of Sitout or Gubcord does have to beat the other first.
Absolutely. I mean, based on today's performance, I think Sitout will probably potentially have the edge against Gubcord. But I mean, we've seen Gubcord take games late and manage to clutch out victories. So
Sitout 2-0ing OGs, but 0-2ing Halo 3. But then we look back to the group stage where they went 1-1 and 2 against. They 0-2'd Granny's Cookies. They 2-0'd Granny's Cookies, sorry. But they 0-2 to Spherical and 0-2 to Stessie's Ultra Shitters, drawing against Mancaf, who Mancaf are out. Stessie's Ultra Shitters have gone 0-2 to the Black Country Widows this evening, which means that Stessie's Ultra Shitters have dropped down. Sorry, I misaligned my bracket. It means that the winner of Sitout and Gubcord will be facing Stessie's Ultra Shitters.
That's
Apologies.
a shock.
They
That's
won't
a
be
big
facing
shock.
They won't be facing Halo 3 Soundtrack. That is me misreading the bracket, which means that if Sitout beat Gubcord, they go up against Stessie's Ultra Shitters, who have already 2-0'd Sitout. It means that Sitout are clawing their way through teams they have already lost to reach this grand final.
I mean,
versus Gubcord, who are going to be going up against people that they've not faced, and so far, when it comes, once they've gotten into the part of the tournament that matters, they've shown up against a team who was considered one of the weaker in the entire tournament, I would say.
yes. I mean, I had them going out pretty early, so I mean...
Yeah, Gubcord already lost to Black Country Widows. They came into the main stage, they lost to Black Country Widows 2-1, which, given that Black Country Widows have just 2-0'd Ultra Shitters, it's incredible that Gubcord took one off of them.
Absolutely.
And then they dropped down and they 1-0 Granny's Cookies, which Granny's Cookies, that's the team I'm referring to when I say one of the weakest teams in the whole tournament, or at least coming in, people considered one of the weaker.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Gubcord are maybe in the scrappiest position yet.
And you know what? I've always loved a comeback story. I think Gubcord, if they can do something genuinely amazing against Sitout, it's gonna get into some really spicy territories. And see, these are the sort of games that I want to be best of threes. I understand that we're pressed for time.
We are,
but
yes,
man, having a Stessie's Ultra
Shitters
Shitters
in on us.
3-game brutal grudge match against Sitout or Gubcord. Oh, that would be some good Dota to watch. But unfortunately, obviously,
Speaking of it though, the other side of the bracket though, we look at Spherical, who were poised to go on a TI-10 2020 Team Spirit level lower bracket run. I'm just peeking in on the other game, and they still could be. It is looking very even between Spherical and Luton.
Ooh.
Luton are staring down Spherical's tier 3s in their racks.
Well,
But the moment Spherical wins a fight, they'll be staring down Luton's.
in that
This
case,
honestly could go anywhere with this lower bracket, but this upper bracket, Black Country Widows versus could be, looking at that purely based off of the performances of teams so far, have gone 2-1, 2-0, 2-0, whereas Black Country Widows have gone 2-1, 2-1, 2-0. I think Black Country Widows are coming into that, and if they go a game down, I think Black Country Widows take it.
I think so.
I think if they go a game down, Team won't pull it together, like purely based off of the record and knowing the players on both teams here.
I mean, it's always good to have a big old tilt off.
It is just a case of